welcome to another episode of Xposure Runs the podcast. As an outsider of Chicago, I'm extremely humbled and happy to have one of probably the most legendary coach in Chicago history, in Illinois state history. Just read off a little bit of his accolades here. 19 plus seasons coaching, 7 Chicago Public League championships, 500 plus wins, 6 state championships, 4 of them were consecutive, 13 IHSA sectional championships, the 2012-2013 NFHS National Coach of the Year, over 80% winning percentage. That's wild. That's wild as hell. Yo. And has coached some of the most legendary and well-known NBA players in history. Obviously, everyone knows Derrick Rose and Jabari Parker. Of course, most recently, Talen, Horton-Tucker, Kendrick, Nunn, legends Nick Anderson and Bobby Simmons, which, by the way, when I was, gravitating or gathering some information, I didn't realize Bobby Simmons went to Simeon. Did not know that.
Yeah.
Also, more recently, obviously, who I would know is, Jalen Griffin, the Rubin twins, Caden Space, and a lot of them guys, and the success that you've had from the time you started up until now. And then I was told also that one of the best players that you've coached, unfortunately has some, later in life issues, but Keezo Brown was one of your best players and probably Simeon history. Now, you can tell me otherwise, but that's what I was told as an outsider. My very first question, and before I get to that, let's welcome Coach, recently retired Coach Robert Smith to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here. I know you from afar as a fan of Simeon's, obviously, but just the history of Chicago when you move here. When I moved here from Philadelphia, it was, the Chicago culture and Simeon. That was like one of the first 2 things I learned when I moved here in 2012. So I've always seen you from afar. I've always kind of admired the work that you was doing down at Simeon. So I'm really happy that you're here.
Yeah, I got it. Somebody keep messing up these stats. I have 8 city championships, but you got that from someplace because somebody keep putting that out there 7.
So let's correct that.
Yeah, because they're not easy to come by.
They're not easy to come by, and I appreciate you telling me. So let's make sure we let them know that the brother has 8 city championships. Well, 8 Chicago League Public championships. Now, is 4 consecutively correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's correct.
Yeah,
okay,
that's correct.
But welcome to the show, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
I
really appreciate being here. It's an honor, everybody asking me how's retirement and how's that going, but my kids got me all over the place.
That was the very first question I asked you when I seen you.
And it's some of those people see me, that's the first thing they ask.
That's what they want to know. They think retirement means kick your feet up, some cigars, some lemonade, maybe a beer, but no, that's not the case.
Not for me.
Not for you.
Not right now.
You would take some of that, though.
Yeah, I would love to have a moment.
Okay.
I haven't even had a moment, so people are always asking, like, what are you planning on doing next? And I really haven't had a chance to sit down and even think about next because I've been dealing with them so much and making sure that they being successful at what they're trying to do. And that was part of my reason of, stepping down, was to make sure that they were okay and be able to spend my time with them. I didn't want to go through this whole process of coaching and not get them their undivided attention. They were all at the games, but it's different just being daddy.
Yes.
A lot different.
Now, not even daring to compare myself to the coaching hierarchy that you are, but when Xavier first started playing, I coached him a little bit, and it did get to a point where it was like, I think I just want to be dad. I don't want to be coaching, and plus, we was butting heads too much because his ass was driving me crazy, man. So, what made you get into coaching?
It's funny. It's a friend of mine, Mike Oliver, over at Curie.
Shout out to Coach Oliver.
He had started coaching at Curie, and I was just coming home from playing over at in college, and he was coaching at Curie, and we was at the gym because we grew up with each other. And he like, man, I'm coaching at Curie. You should come over there. I said, man, I ain't being bothered no kids, man. I'm not being bothered with kids. So this was early in the process. So then playing, and I ended up hurting my knee just not playing anymore. And then he was like, well, you ain't doing nothing. You should just come over. So I went over one day, and I found myself like asking kids, why did you do that? Why wouldn't you do this? And why did you do that? So I went back, and I went back, and I went back, and then I was there. And I really appreciate him even seeing that in me, you know, because he knew that he could tell, like, this would be good for me. You know, when you get done playing basketball, you're trying to figure out what's going to be that next step.
Right.
And he was already here doing that, and he was like, man, you might as well get into it. This is something that we could do and give back to our community and give back to different people and help people out, because we've been through this already. So just listening to him through that time and at the very beginning, which was good. And, I mean, it's funny because all of this stuff is truly a blessing from God. You know, my first year coaching at Curie, my sophomore team, we went 35-0.
Damn.
And we didn't have a kid over 6 foot.
Damn.
So it was like success from the start.
Right off the bat.
Yeah. So it's like, wow. So then, you know, I made the transition of leaving from there and going to Simeon, which is my home. Well, I graduated from Simeon as well. So
Right.
I just ended up going back home where, you know, to help build a program up.
And what was that like when you know, coaching at your high school that you went to? Like, what was that nostalgia like?
It was great because I was able to learn a lot of stuff from Coach Hambrick. You know, when I was there, I don't know how our relationship was. I don't think it was the best because I just thought he was this mean old man.
Right.
You know, because he was a disciplinarian, you know, and my father wasn't around at the time. So I'm just like, oh, this man just mean. I don't want to be bothered with him.
Right.
So if he was on the left side of the hallway, I went on the right side of the hallway. But as time went on, I grew on him and he grew on me. And then when I got there, it was just like a father and son situation, and he just wanted to help me grow as a coach. So it was great being there, learning from him, which I think is probably one of the best coaches to ever coach in the state of Illinois. And probably could have won more if he wasn't in his ways. You know, he was in his ways, like it's this way or no way. And we had a bunch of talent.
And couldn't really adjust.
And guys couldn't get to his way, so we didn't win. I mean, and he was okay with that. His thing was, you're going to do it my way? Yeah, you're going to do it my way. Yeah. And it wasn't the wins and losses went out the door with him after a while. It was more helping young men become to be men. That was his whole thing. You know, and we all grew from him. We definitely did. We learned so much from him. It was ridiculous. I mean, a lot of us at that time, not all of us, but a lot of us, our dads weren't around. So he was like our father figure.
What type of student was Robert Smith?
I was fair. You know, I didn't put a lot of work into school because basketball was all I thought about. You know, I could do the work whenever I could just go do it.
Right.
I wasn't a guy who was going to be sitting at home studying. I'm going to get the grade, I'm going to get it, and I'm going to move on.
So I can play ball. I just need to pass to play ball.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that was my mindset, but my kids in definitely a different world than me.
Right.
You know, they haven't seen nothing but A's since they've been in preschool.
Now, was that instilled in them, or that just kind of became them and you groomed that? Or both?
But that's both. We had long talks when they were young, and I think a lot of kids miss out on preschool. I did think that. You learn a lot in preschool. And if you don't go to preschool, you kind of like start off behind. So both of them was in preschool, and I think that kind of elevated them to do a lot of stuff. I didn't teach my kids how to tie their shoes. They learned how to tie their shoes in preschool.
Got you.
You know, so those little bitty things like
those little developmental things.
Yeah. We don't think that important, but they're very important. You know, and school is really big to both of them. They really, my daughter has a 4.0 GPA, and my son is getting nothing but all A's right now. You know, so school is very important to them as well.
Okay. Talking about we mentioned all the lineage of players that you've coached. Who was your favorite, and who took the longest to buy in?
Those guys that you got on that list, they all was in from the start. That's what made us as a team be so successful and made them be so successful, because they were already in. They were in, and the most important person was in with their parents. So that's the most important thing. When you got parents that's on board with the coach, it makes it
a lot easier.
Yeah, and especially when you got guys like Derrick Rose and Jabari Parker and those type of things. And people don't understand what Derrick and his brothers and his mother, they was fully in on what we were trying to do. Yeah, of course they wanted to see some other things happen with their son, which was okay, but they were fully in with us winning, and that's all they cared about, and that's all he cared about. You know, he didn't care about getting 30 points and doing. He just wants to win. That's all. And when you got kids like that and parents like that, it makes our job so much easier.
As a coach?
As a coach, so much easier.
Okay.
The last couple of years with these kids I had, it was so easy because their parents were fully on board.
Was fully on board. And that makes the whole, like you talked about, the process makes it a lot easier.
Yes.
Okay. You began coaching in 2004, correct?
Yes.
How were the players different back then than how they are today as far as taking tough coaching?
Well, it's changed a lot. Times have changed. We used to really be able to get into those kids in 2004, that era of kids. As time has went on, you have to use a different approach.
Okay.
You still can get into some of them, but for me, what I did was, and what I thought was successful for me is, as I figured out the background of the kid and the parent.
Okay.
Does his parent get on him? So if his parent gets on him, he can handle me getting on him.
Got you.
But if his parents is a little passive and so I have to talk to him different. Hey, can you do it this? Look at this. Let's look at this. Let's do it this way. Let's try it this way. Just the tone and everything has to be different because that's the tone that he gets at home all the time.
So you had to do your homework on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could talk to parents and tell how they discipline their kids.
Okay.
Or if they discipline or not. I might have to be the only person disciplined.
Right. You might be the only discipline they're getting.
Yeah, so you have to figure that out. And people don't understand that because it's part of building them as young men, too. To understand, like, I could go screaming at somebody and they just shut down on me. Mm-hmm. And that's not going to help us to be successful on the court.
On the court, right.
So it's just building that and understanding who the kids were. You from their upbringing, where they lived at, where they come from, all those different things, you could kind of pick that up.
That's interesting. I'm glad you said that a lot of times because I don't think parents take enough accountability in realizing that some of their children's inabilities to navigate through those waters, particularly if they're getting ready to play at the next level, like they play a huge part in that.
Yeah, and I mean, I explain to them all the time, like, if you go to Michigan State, they don't care. Coach Izzo don't care about your parent. He gonna get in your face and yell at you. So you better get used to it now.
Right.
And they're making millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have time for none of the BS.
For the baby industry. I got you.
Yeah.
Championships is obviously always the goal, and with so many accolades and championships that you have and players coach, is there anything you feel you didn't accomplish while you were coaching?
Yeah, won the national championship, and we weren't able to even compete for it because the IHSA has different rules for us to be able to compete for the national championship. So that was the only thing that's on that list that's not on there that I set as a goal, and that's it. The other things I set those. Those were the goals that I set from day one when I first started. Did I think they were going to happen? No, not really. But I just set them as high as I could set them to push myself. Just to try to be the best person, the best coach that ever been here and in the state of Illinois. So that was it. And I tell the young coaches now, even Coach Flowers, who took over for me.
Mm-hmm. Who was one of your players, correct?
Yes.
If
you go in there saying that you're going to try to be better than me, then you may fail. Because if it don't happen, you're going to feel like you failed.
But so with that same thought and that same mindset, wouldn't he consider that a goal to set, like you set for yourself?
Yeah.
Or should he align or word the goal differently?
He should word it differently.
Okay.
Because it's what I did and what we did. Let me take that back. I keep saying because I didn't do it by myself. Mm-hmm. What we did is unheard of in any state.
In any state. In any sport almost.
Yeah. I got some friends who've won 7, 8 state championships as well in other states, but it's not as competitive as it is here. Mm-hmm. And they roll is so much different than what we have to go through here. So it's kind of unheard of. Sometimes I look back and be like, this can't be real. Like this just can't be real. And people always say, well, you had all the players and you had great players. Sometimes them the hardest people to coach.
The great ones.
And having 7 of them who could really play, you got to manage that, and you got to manage their parents.
Talk about that a little bit. Like, how difficult was that for you in the beginning to the middle and as you got towards the end? Did you care more in the beginning about that, or did you kind of like stayed the same throughout?
Well, at the beginning, it was all about winning. That was our goal. We wanted to win. And it always been about winning, but winning was the absolute
must
goal. Yeah, we gotta win. We gotta win.
Right.
And as I started to get older, it's like, hey, let's make sure we get these kids get in college. That's the most important thing. Let's make sure everybody gets a scholarship. Let's make sure everybody go to school. Everybody not going to Duke. Everybody not going to North Carolina. But we can get somebody.
We can get them in school.
And that should be the goal.
Right.
You know, so that's what we started to focus on. A couple years after we had started winning, we started focusing on making sure everybody went to school. And we've got everybody in school. Now, did they stay? No.
Okay.
But everybody has went to school.
Had an opportunity.
Yes. And we did everything. We talked to people. We got them in wherever it was at. If it was at Kennedy King, it was Joliet. We just made sure the kids got to school so nobody could say that, well, you didn't even help them get in school. That's not, we did. Now, when you get there, you got to do that on your own. You know, and if it don't work, just give us a call. We'll help you still. You know, I was on the phone this week. I talked to Miles. I talked to Wes. I talked to Caden. I talked to Jalen. And I talked to Sam either today or tomorrow, just to check and make sure that they're doing fine. You know, it's an adjustment from high school to college.
It's a huge adjustment, and I don't think they really understand, and not just the game, because obviously that don't really even start yet. Like the adjustment to college itself. First of all, the freedom, the making the decisions that you have to make. Nobody there to wake you up for class. It was a rude. Like I remember, it was a rude awakening for my ass when I got to college. So I can only imagine. And you know, Xavier is. I don't want to say that he's sheltered, but my wife and I did
He's sheltered.
Okay.
He's sheltered, but he's not sheltered. I mean, we all do that to our kids.
Right.
It's a different upbringing.
It's
a different world. So we shelter them.
We do.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just to a certain extent on how you shelter them.
Right.
And I'm guilty of it too.
Right.
You know, with my son and my daughter, like they think they run Chicago. My kids, they think they can walk in any place.
But you're royalty though.
I mean, but they still, like I explained to them that this is not just given to you.
Sometimes they don't understand that.
They don't.
And I'm not. And again, I'm not on your level, particularly in basketball. But you know, just from Philadelphia, and even the lane that I've been able to create here, like just. I don't want to say Xavier thinks that, because I know he ain't on the level as your children are as far as that go. But sometimes he does have that, and it's kind of like. People ain't gonna just give you stuff just because you know me or just because you my son. You still got to earn it. But even if that is the case, you got to still earn the rest of it. Like they'll give you like a little bit, but you got to earn a little bit more.
I mean, it's funny. This was this season, so and my son was going to some Bulls games when I had a chance, and I told him we're gonna go to a game, and his first question was, "Where we sitting at?" I said, "Well, we're gonna sit." You know, on the floor this time, close, whatever. And we went back and he said, well, we sitting there, Dad. We sitting on the floor. I said, now we're going to sit, you know, in section 1. So then we went back and we sat in the suite. So I said, you know what, we're going to go back, but we're going to sit in the 300 levels. I didn't tell him that. But we went back and I said, he said, well, we sitting there. I said, we're going to be close. And we went to the 300 level. He said, why are we going up here?
He was tight.
So our seats are at.
He was tight.
And he like, why are we going up here today? I said, because you need to be with the regular folks.
Yeah.
Stop thinking that you something bigger than the regular people. You need to sit up here with them. This is okay. This is not like you just giving everything. Okay. He probably had more fun up there than he did down. Because when we left, he was like, oh, I had so much fun. And he probably had more fun just because of that, because he was able to be around people like him, you know, to a certain extent. So I had to teach him that and let him understand that, because it's not, I didn't even get a chance to go to Bulls games.
Right. And when I was coming up, we are at a point now in my family where once or twice a year we travel to watch the Eagles. Like around Xavier's birthday, like we plan to go to an Eagles game. We done been to Arizona, we done been to Vegas, and they done got, him and my youngest son done got accustomed to that. But I have to admit, like you said, some of that is my fault, because like when we go to games, I feel like I've worked hard enough that now I don't even, you know, no disrespect to the people that sit up there, but I don't want to fucking sit up there sometime. And it's like, I earned the right to put my feet on the floor. The fuck?
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I understand what you're saying in that regard.
I mean, and it's, he 11 and he had been in 23 different states.
Damn. I thought Ziggy was doing something.
I mean,
he's 6. He ain't been to 23, but he been
to 20. I mean, we sat and counted them like about a month ago. We were going out of town somewhere for AAU, and I'm like, how many states you been to? Where have you been? You know, and we just start counting. He was like, I've been here. I'm like, whoa.
That gotta feel good though, to be able to know that you provided those opportunities for the children. Yeah,
I mean, it's what I work for. You know, I work to be able to do that for both of them. And one thing that I did as growing up with my mom and my brothers and my sisters was I said I would not have my kids in this situation.
Right.
Whatever, I was going to make sure that they wouldn't be in this same situation that we was in. And my mother did a great job of making sure that we were okay, but she struggled to make sure we was okay. And I didn't want my kids to have to struggle to be okay.
I think we all, like, even, you know, I talk to Bo a lot, you know, the producer, like when we talk about our kids, I think that is the ultimate goal when you become a parent. Is it is no disrespect to to your parent. It's like you saw them struggle and you just want to do just a little bit better, and then the hope is that they pick up and your children can make their children a little bit better. That's definitely the ultimate goal. So, you played at Simeon. Scout your game. What kind of player were you?
I was a defensive guy.
Okay.
I mean, I hung my hat on playing defense, and that's. If you ever watch our teams, we try to play defenses, but I mean, we pretty much be a good defensive team because that's my concept in being able to win. I got better in college because I had more time to just work on my game as far as offensively.
Got you.
So I ended up going to a junior college in Casper, Wyoming, which was probably one of the best things I ever did, was to be able to get away. I mean, nothing else to do but basketball.
Nothing, just focus on that.
Just
basketball in school.
That's it. So I stayed in the gym, and Adam Morrison, his dad was my coach.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Adam Morrison that went to Gonzaga?
Yeah, his dad was my coach.
Okay.
In junior college, and we went to national championship. I mean, not national, we went to Hutch.
For college.
We finished 14th in the country.
Okay.
And then I went to University of Baylor for a year.
Oh.
I was there for 1 year, and then I left there and went to NAI school in Oklahoma, which was pretty much a Division I school. We had 23 Division I transfers in our conference.
Wow.
And Oklahoma City was the team. They was the number one team in the country. Jabba played on that team.
Okay.
City.
Okay.
So I played against him in college, and they won the national championship. It was pretty much they had two guys who got drafted off their team.
Oh, wow.
In high school. So, like, we had we'd go to games, and we'd be like, I just played against him last year. He was at Murray State. So everybody remembered each other.
So the competition in the AI is good.
It was good. It was really good.
Xavier's going to Indiana Tech. So, you know, they got a really good program down there. Shout out to Indiana Tech and Coach Albert. Coach Rob, the player, could Coach Rob, the coach him? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was easy guy.
Okay.
I was easy. It didn't take much for me. I mean, because I just wanted to guard people. And my teammates, they loved it.
Okay.
They didn't have to guard the best players. They know I would do it.
You would do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, but what it did was it kept me on the floor. It kept me on the floor. And the thing about it is I came to Simeon, and I'm from the west side of Chicago.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not even from the south.
Got you.
I was a little mischievous as a kid, and the guy at the park was like, told my mom that I didn't need to go to the schools in the neighborhood. I needed to go outside the neighborhood. And don't be around the guys from the neighborhood, you know, just to get me to where I need to be at. So Coach Hamrick was a disciplinarian, and he knew that.
Got you.
He was like, he needs to go with him.
Got you.
He's going to make sure that he's fine.
Got you. Now, how difficult was that with the culture of Chicago? I try not to reference too much of the negativity when it comes to the gangs and all of that, but back during that time, like, how difficult was that to go from the west side to the south side?
I mean, it is what it is. You know, I had to go to school. You know, and my mother said that's why I had to go.
Right.
You know, and I didn't even. I mean, it's funny because I didn't even know how to get there. You know, and she didn't even know how to get there. We had to ask somebody, and she figured it out. And she said, "Well, you're gonna get on the 47th Street bus, and you're gonna sit next to the bus driver. And you tell him where you're getting off. He's gonna tell you where to get off at. You get on the next one. You ask him, and you go there
until you get to school.
Then you're gonna get in front of school, and that's for orientation." And, you know, I went there, and I didn't know a soul in the building. I was just freshly new. I didn't know anybody, not one person. The one kid who did go there, he ended up transferring and going to King. So he would have been there with me, but he ended up transferring the year that I came.
Got you.
So I was just there blind by myself. So it kind of helped me out. You know,
I was going to ask, like, did that help a little bit, not knowing anyone, and you could start from scratch? And
yeah, it kind of helped because I didn't even know. Like, I made the team in tryouts, which is back then at Simeon that was unheard of because it wasn't a freshman team.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who was there was brought there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was the only person on the team through my whole 4 years who wasn't brought there. You know, on where they knew. Coach Hammock knew me because of the guy at the park. He didn't know me about no basketball. He was more of like, okay, he can come here. I don't know if he's going to make the team or nothing like that.
Right.
You know, but
and I ain't guaranteeing nothing. Right.
You know. And then my freshman year, like, I didn't even play. I barely played. I mean, we had a really good team, and we won the city championship, but I didn't even play my freshman year. And then my sophomore year, I started and played. Then my junior year, I started and played. We had a kid who has academic issues, and then I ended up sliding into his position. And then I started my junior year, and then I started my senior year. So,
and the rest is history.
That's it, yeah.
When you played, who were the top players in the city in your era?
Jamie Brandon.
I hear that name a lot. Shout out to my guy David. He brings his name up to me like damn near. Every time I talk to David, it's like we're talking about cars, we're talking about our kids, and somehow he slips his name in. It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
If people have never seen him play, they would be impressed if they saw him play. And he can play in this era right now, too, if he was playing.
Wow.
The way he played.
Wow.
So, Jamie Brandon, Tracy Webster.
Okay.
Brandon Cole.
Okay.
Tony Selvey, Marcus Liberty. I mean, we had a great... basketball was fun then.
Back then.
It was really fun. I mean, because you could... I mean, we would always play our... I mean, it's sort of like now. We played our games early in the day, and we would leave and go out to Thornton and watch Thornton play Thornwood.
Right.
You know, we all got our Letterman jackets on.
Right. Letting them know where y'all from. Like, y'all ain't no shit.
Yeah. So we used to go out there and watch them. Tom Clyde-Smith, who's over to DePaul Prep, he was really good.
Okay.
It was a lot of them. Lynn Moffitt at Westinghouse. It was every night. And the difference, I think, and I'm not really 100% sure because I don't know how the kids gravitate and move around right now, but we were all friends.
Some of them, I will say some of them are, and I'm speaking from the outside looking in. They all do seem to be friendly on the court, but social media, I think, plays a huge part in giving off the false bravado because they are like friendly to each other, and then they got group chats talking shit about that same person, and that's the type of stuff that I be warning Xavier about. Is like, number one, we're not from here, so like, you know, you might think they friends with you, but you know, it is what it is too, and that's my thing to him is like, it's cool that people don't mess with you. That's fine. Like, you ain't got to dislike them, and ain't got to be no, you know, rah shit. It's just you just maneuver accordingly. That's all. When you learn that stuff, you just, you know, kind of move on the by. He's been doing a pretty good job, but like social media has these kids really like, it's bad. It's real bad.
Because King was our rivals back then.
I'm glad you brought that up. That is definitely one of my questions. What happened to that rival? People have told me that was like the thing.
Yeah, King was our rival, but we would be at parties together. I mean, we would be riding to parties with each other. You know, like they coming to pick me up from home. You know, a lot of my friends in my neighborhood, they went to King, so that's how I was able to meet the players like that. But we was everywhere together. Like on the court, we knew what it was. Right. And the media made it like, oh, they don't like each other and blah, 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 blah. Nah, coaches might not have liked each other. They weren't friends. And they probably didn't know we was hanging out with each other either. But
it would have had a fit, too.
but we definitely were all friends. So, and that was a good thing. Like, we would go to the west side and hang out with those guys and we would come to the suburbs and hang out. I mean, it was just a different time. Of course, we didn't have cell phones and we didn't have social media. We had none of that stuff.
Right.
We had to get to each other to be able to communicate.
I was going to say, what was the communication like back then? To be like, yo, we going such and such, or we about to go somewhere. Like,
just be on the phone and call and say, hey, they having somebody from King having a party tonight. We going. Somebody from Westinghouse having a party. We gonna ride out west. You know, just depends on where it was. They gonna be.
We outside. That's the funniest thing I be hearing when I'm here is the kids from just actually the adults too be like, yo, we outside. Yeah, we like outside. What? Of course you outside. Like, no, we going out. I was like, oh, okay, got it. Like, that's the funniest shit ever.
But the King rivalry, when they changed the school, the basketball and the football and the sport period at the school changed.
Right, because King is not even a talked about school, let alone athletically They're not really talked about.
No, it's a magnet school now, so a lot of athletes don't go there to participate and play any sports now. It's regular school now, so but it was in my era, it was the biggest rivalry in the world. I mean, King and Simeon playing, I don't care where you playing, it's going to be sold out.
Yeah, that's what I was told. Matter of fact, the question was, I was told that the King-Simeon rivalry was a spectacle to behold. And what happened to that rivalry? They said that if anybody was anybody, they was at that game.
It was at that game. I don't care. I mean, it would be people outside trying to get in. If it was just at a regular gym.
And they eventually moved it to a bigger gym, correct?
Well, we would only really play each other in the playoffs.
Okay.
Because we was in different conferences.
Okay.
We would play each other in the city playoffs. That was it. So back before, you would have to win the city championship to go downstate.
Gotcha.
So if you didn't win the city championship,
you wasn't going.
It's not like it is now. So you lose.
Everybody get a chance. Yeah.
So you didn't have that opportunity, which I think is better now. Of course, the older players and coaches like, oh, this is not good.
Right. Yeah, because it's a participation trophy.
But I think it's better because you give people opportunity to go. I mean, is a 2A school that's in CPS going to beat a Simeon to get ready to go downstate? No. So they'll never have that opportunity. But if they play against other 2A schools, they at least have the opportunity to go downstate.
Yeah, but as you know, as legendary of a coach as you are, like, I mean, anybody can be beat on any given day. So, like, you can give an opportunity to a team that's, let's say like 5-20 to play like a 32-1 team, and then they beat them. Like, is that fair? Because that 5 and whatever team, should they even have been allowed to be there?
Yeah, I just think it's better for everybody. I mean, just having a one. So it goes back, and I told somebody, if that's the case, I don't win that many championships.
Fair. Because
we didn't win city all those times.
Okay, fair.
So I wouldn't have that opportunity to go down there and win.
Okay.
Would my approach been a little bit different, knowing this is it? Maybe.
Okay. But you knew you was going to get that shot.
I knew I was going to have another shot. So it's a different thing. Like, yeah, I want to win, but hey, if we don't win, state is the biggest thing. Anyway. Right. So the approach could be different, but it's just, I don't. Some people like it, some people don't. I do, because I want to give everybody a chance, but,
So is that message in the locker room a little bit different, knowing that y'all going to have an opportunity to play for state, like if y'all done lost the city championship? Or city playoff game or whatever?
And I'm speaking more for other schools because at Simeon, it's city state where you didn't
do shit.
You failed.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's unfortunate.
But that's how you judge.
That's the standard.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. Like, we lost this year, and you see them up there, they devastated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this ain't right. I mean, it'd be a bunch of people up here who would love to be holding up this second place trophy. Mm-hmm. They have a parade
for the second place trophy.
Yeah.
Hell, for the third place, because you made it to the final four of the state championship game.
We pulled up. It was crickets at the school.
Damn.
It was nobody. It was y'all lost.
Damn.
I mean, that's
the standard.
Yeah, that's the standard. But I don't like that for the kids.
Second, you ever see the movie with Ricky? But what's the movie? Second place is first place loser. What's that movie with?
If you ain't first, you last.
Yeah, if you ain't first, you last.
That's probably us. I mean, I think it was some years ago we played Bolingbrook. I think Talen was there, and we beat them in the semis. I think they won the third place game, and we're there warming up. And the announcer says, Bolingbrook fans, you guys will be having a parade at blah, 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 blah time, and it's going to go all the way to the gym. Mm-hmm. And me and my coaches, they're like, the third place? If we don't win this game tonight, this ain't going to be nothing.
Right.
And it's just like the perception that everybody is, and I think they should be happy because it's an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should, but our standards are so high.
Just a little different.
For these kids, and it's, sometimes I think they get it's a bad stick for them. I think sometimes. I mean, of course, I want to win championship every time.
Right.
I mean, you go downstate twice and you don't win them, and that's bad. That ain't. Some people play. Some of the best players who play in this state never even went downstate.
Damn. And with that being said, obviously the ultimate goal is to win state, but what has more status in Chicago, winning state or winning the city championship?
It's funny you say that. So when we won the 4 state championships in a row, everybody's like, "Oh, that ain't nothing. It's harder to win city than it is state." So then we go win 4 city championships in a row. Oh, you got to win state to be the. I said, "Come on now, y'all. Come on, make it up."
Yeah. Y'all making shit up as you go.
So whichever one we win, that don't mean nothing now. So I'm like, come on. I mean, because you look at the 4 championship team. Off the top of my head, I think we only won the city championship one time. That was in 2012,
right?
With Steve Talen and Jabari Parker. The other years, I don't think we won the city championship. I think we might have played in them, but I think we lost.
Gotcha.
So it goes back to what I was saying about winning the city. We only went one time with that group.
Wow.
If that was the old way.
Right. Wow. You earlier you spoke about Coach Hamrick. What was it like being groomed under him before you took over for the school?
It was great because he taught me everything I needed to know, and I think sometimes guys now are getting jobs and they don't understand everything that they need to understand to be the coach.
Give some examples, like what?
So, example for me is Faye Michaels, great coach at Dunbar High School. He retired, and I'm one of the next guys in line for jobs.
Okay.
Going through it, and they asked me about coming to Dunbar, blah 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 blah. So I said, okay, interview, do the stuff. Tell Coach Hamrick I'm going to Dunbar. I'm thinking I'm gonna go take this job at Dunbar. He said, well, come to my office with me first. We just need to talk. I said, okay. He said, pull up an eligibility sheet for me. An eligibility sheet? He was like, yeah, you got to have an eligibility sheet before every game to play. I was like, I don't know how to do that. He said, well, how you about to be a coach and you can't pull up an eligibility sheet? That's part of coaching. Stay here and let me teach you. So when it's your time, you'll be prepared. I stayed another 2 or 3 years and learned everything from him to understand what it was going to be like and what I needed to know to be the coach.
Now, with Coach Flowers getting ready to take over, at what point did you begin showing him?
We started 2 years ago. I mean, I just started him not knowing that I'm about to retire,
right? But
just putting him in front of different things so he could see it and know what it was.
Now, was he your hand-picked replacement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
What made you know 2 years ago or whenever you knew that he was the person you wanted to take over for you?
I saw me and him. How I was with Coach Hamrick. Okay. I saw that from the player part.
Okay.
And from the coaching part.
Got you.
I saw that.
That whole...
Because he did a stint with us before, and then he ended up getting his own job and going down to DuSable. And then he left there and he came back. And pretty much not knowing everything when he went to DuSable. And then he came back.
And then he came back.
Yeah, and then he kind of learned and picked up some stuff. And not afraid to say, Tim Flowers and Jelani Neely coached the team the last 2 years. I was just the face. I was just really the face of getting the wins and losses and making
setting up the schedule. Doing all that.
They coached the team. They ran practice. They did everything.
How did the players respond to them?
They loved them.
Do you think it was a little more easier? No disrespect to the age gap, but do you think it was easier for these players today to relate to a coach like Tim, who's a little younger?
Yeah, I think that helped a lot. A little bit more towards their age and speak a little bit of their language a little bit.
Right. Listen to their music a little
bit. The respect part of the kids for me was great because they respected me.
Right.
So that is not like, oh, that's our coach because he's with us every day and you're not around. You know how that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm only going to listen to him because he's the person. No, I still had the respect part from the kids, and they still instilled them to him like that's your coach. You got to still do what he's saying do.
Right.
But they coached they coached the team the last 2 years. I mean, if you ever came to a game, sometimes you would see me sitting down when it was huddles. I wouldn't even get in the huddle because I trusted them.
I saw that.
To do what they were going to do. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that I had to be doing, stuff.
Everything.
I trusted them.
In 2017, it was reported that you had a chance to go to Loyola to be with Coach Porter Moser, and you returned to Simeon. Why?
Funny story. Coach Moser offers me the job. It's orientation at Simeon. I go up, talk to him. He said, "Hey, it's your job. You can go home, talk to your family, see how this going to go."
Right.
I go to work. It's orientation. I'm in a counseling office because a kid is transferring in, and I'm making sure that everything is going with the parent is there and they doing everything with all their stuff. And a parent walked up to me and says, "Hey, Coach, I need you to mentor my son." I'm like, "I don't know your son. Who is your son?" So she goes out and get him and bring him in. I'm thinking it's a player, like a freshman or a sophomore that's going to be on the team. It's just a regular student.
No affiliation to sports, basketball, nothing.
Nothing. And I'm like, "Well, he doesn't play on the team." She said, "I know, but I see what you do for the young men in the building. I want you to mentor him." And I'm like, "How can I leave? How can I just leave these?
Right.
Not the team. How can I just
the
leave?
Kids?
Yeah, like this is my community.
Right.
And it was a hard decision.
Was it?
It was really hard because my team was coming back was great. Just the history of Coach Moser with all those guys got jobs now.
Everybody.
All of them.
Yeah.
And that was
and his Tim Flowers was Valentine. And
that's what Emmanuel Daly, who helped me with the situation, said, like, "Rob, we all got jobs. If you work for him, he's going to help you know what's going on, and somebody else is going to hire you because they say if you can work for him, you can work for anybody."
And now he off in Oklahoma doing this thing. Zay used to play with his son, Ben, with the Wolves, and he was, I remember after one game, I'll never forget this. It was right before, it was between the spring, and they were about to go to do high school, right? And we were at a game, and Coach Moser was in the stand watching his son, and it was after games. They had a really good game too, and I waited till all the parents and the hanger owners kind of, "Hey, Coach Moser," and they think hey, this is my guy. You know how that shit is, right? Yeah. And so I waited. I didn't want to be Joe. Philly got this thing about we don't like being Joe, and we don't like looking like we Dickie. We don't like that at all. So I waited, and then I pulled him to the side. I said, "Coach Moser, can I ask you a quick question before they come back for July? Can you just tell me what I could help Xavier work on as a player, so he'll be ready for the live period?" And he gave me some great feedback for Xavier. Basically he wanted to see him, kind of be more aggressive with the ball. He wanted to see his decision making get a little bit better. He wanted to see his jump shot be a little bit more consistent. It was some great feedback that I got from him. So he, in that moment of having just that father to father who happens to coach on a high level, it was great to get that feedback from him. And I gave it to Xavier, and he did what he did with it. But I mean, it was just great to kind of have that.
Coach Moses is a great guy. I mean, we still communicate with each other now. And that team went to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And Dante Ingram was my player, and he hit one of the shots and everything.
Right.
So it was
a full circle moment almost.
Yeah.
The only thing that was missing was you on the staff.
On the staff. But I have no regrets about it at all. Sometimes you put here for certain things, and when you get to that level, it's more of a business than it is anything else. And I don't know if I'm ready for. I didn't know if I was ready for that part of it.
Gotcha.
At that moment, like, I'm helping our community,
and that's as important or more important in some regard.
It's a guy saw me in a restaurant about a week ago. He was like, "Do you even know how much you impacted the whole community?"
Yeah. And
I'm just thinking, like, he just talking. I'm like, "Thank you, just thank you." And then I get in the car and I'm thinking about, like, "Oh, we did impact the community." Everybody. The school, like, we play today. Not who y'all playing. Who we play today.
Right.
We playing Kenwood today. You ain't even on the team. But it's just the community was all involved. And you don't look at that or even think about that while you in it. But as you get out of it and you starting to drift it, you impacted the community.
Who was the best player you ever seen in Chicago Public League? And who was the best player you've coached?
the best player I ever seen with these two eyes is Jamie Brandon.
Okay.
And the best player I ever coached. That's a hard thing to. That's very hard.
Mm.
That's very hard.
Okay.
It's really, really hard. I mean, Derrick was special. Jabari was special. But when you go off numbers, Jabari won 4 state championships. Mm. Derrick won 2. So are you
critiquing him off of that?
So that's why people they ask me, and I have to ask you, what are you basing it off?
Okay.
What are you basing it off?
Right. It's almost like asking the question, like, who's the best rapper? Are we talking about sales? Are we talking about lyrics? Are we talking? Yeah, I'm saying
so it's hard.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
Hard because I mean
that's fair.
They both filled up gems.
Yeah.
They both filled them up.
Yeah. You know. Fair enough. All right. What steps do you think the IHSA need to take when it comes to transfers, and are you okay with the current system?
I'm okay with the current system. I am. And I mean, in high school is different than college, so I'm speaking more on high school because colleges. Right. I mean, even high school. I mean, you had guys who had really good jobs, and they left and took another job that they thought was better. So why if a kid and their parent think, hey, you know, I tried this, let me go here because I think this is going to be better for my child, that's not okay. I mean, parents do it all the time with their jobs. I mean, coaches do it all the time with their jobs. Mm-hmm. Man, why is it okay for them and not?
Hell, we do it in the regular work sector.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's the part I don't, you know, I kind of get torn with when people say, oh, he transferred this, that, and other. I get kind of torn with that when it comes to that because if you're going to better yourself as a person, player, whatever that may be, mm-hmm. I think you should be able to do that.
Okay.
I think you should be able to do that.
Okay. Do you think Chicago high school basketball need a shot clock?
Definitely.
Do you think it's coming?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's coming soon. We just hosted. Well, we're hosting. We have a championship game on Saturday night. We hosted the Chicago Basketball Academy with Nike and Jordan.
Okay.
Over at Whitney Young.
Yeah. I've been seeing that.
Yeah, so it's been really great. We use the shot clock for both boys and girls.
How's it going?
It's going great. I mean, it was really. The league was really, really good. It really got the playoffs. It got it really going when we got to the playoffs. The normal games, the regular season games were really good, but these playoff games have been incredible. I mean, last night was over. It was some high level basketball and guys looking like, well, don't you want to be on the sideline over there coaching? I said no, because somebody got to lose this game. I don't lose over here. So I don't want to be over that at all. But it was a really good game. HF and Kenwood was really, really. It was a really, really, really good game. It was.
And HF, they have retooled tremendously. Coach JD, shout out to him and Gianni and Carson, and they got a nice little team up there.
Yeah, they got a chance. They got a really good chance.
And, you know, and you said they was playing Kenwood, correct?
Yeah. It was a great game. It was a great game. Went down to the wire. HF pulled it, pushed the lead out a little bit, and then they did some 17, 18-year-old things on the court. Mm-hmm. I'm sure the coach didn't like it, but Kenwood didn't end up coming back and making the game a little bit closer and respectable. But it was just a high-level basketball game, and when you got that out there, it was almost like a college game more than it was a high school game.
Wow.
That's the kind of feel it was.
The atmosphere.
Just for them. I mean, and the crowd was into it. We had a nice. Probably was one of the biggest crowds we had, for the tournament.
Right.
South Suburbs came out.
Right.
They came out yesterday.
Shout out to them guys in the South Suburbs. Them guys they some interesting cats up there.
Yeah, they was out yesterday.
Okay.
Full force, and it was good. It was good for the city. It was good for Chicago basketball. It's very important that we understand that, and when I spoke earlier about how I was saying when we were playing, we were all friends off the court, and it made our community so much together. Mm-hmm. We got too much separation right now with stuff that's going on. I mean, even like we with the South Suburbs, and you guys are the city.
Right,
you guys are the West
Right.
Suburbs. There's just too much parity and breaking off. When it's all said and done, we're Illinois, the state. Mm-hmm. And if we're not good as a state, then we're not good as a state. It don't make a difference because you live in the South Suburbs and you got 3 good players or 4 good players. That don't mean nothing even if you live in the city. It doesn't make a difference.
Even the argument is always, when it comes to the city versus the South Suburbs, is that a high percentage of the city teams have South suburban players. or suburban players in general. Right. So, I mean, like when you get into that argument, you know, they kind of break it down like, well, the city is this and the South Suburb ain't this. And it's like, well, yeah, the city is that because like a high portion of them players that play in these city schools is from the suburbs.
Well, I give them credit in the South Suburbs right now. And it is what it is. I don't coach anymore. But the coaching wasn't good.
Okay. It just is what it is.
It wasn't. Okay. I mean, why would you leave if the coaching was good?
Fair. And then opportunities as well. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean
that's fair. As a parent hearing that's a fair thing to hear. Like the coaches, they're not putting the kids in opportunities that the city schools put them in. So yeah, when you make these arguments like, oh, the city schools is being funded or player funded by the South Suburbs, but it's like, yeah, some of these South Suburban schools they're not putting it. I could really I can take another 30 minutes telling you the shit that I went through with Xavier and having to, ask coaches, y'all playing in this, live periods. Like, I'm trying to get my son seen, right. but I'm also not just putting it all on you. That's pretty much why I started this. It's like I can sit back and wait for a coach, and I can name these coaches too. Like the shit'll get me going. The shit'll get me going, right? Coach fucking Trindle from Marist, like, don't get me the fuck started, please. But it's like, that's why I started this program, because I can't just sit around and wait for him to do it or them to do it. Like, yeah, I do expect you to do something, but I see what this is. Right. So, okay, fuck it. I'll do something too, right? Give me access to your Max Preps shit so I can do the scoring. I'll take, even though it should be somebody on your staff from what I hear, but give me the access. I'll do the shit. Right. So for the schools that he went to, I volunteered and I did it. And it was helpful, but it's like...
it's a staff thing. Somebody on the staff should do it. I have someone on my staff to do that. That's what he does. He does all the paperwork. He does everything. I mean, as part of a staff, you got to make sure that you have people in place to do those things, because the head coach can't do it all.
Right. I wasn't expecting it, but it also should be somebody like for the last 2.5 years for Xavier Suleiman and the team. So I didn't just make it about Xavier.
You did it for the team.
I did it for the team. But yes, the underlining thing was it was for Xavier. But for the last 2 years, and this ain't no shade. But the facts are the facts. For the last 2.5 years, I did that shit. Yeah.
And going back to the South Suburbs, in which I respect, what they did is they upped their coaching now.
Absolutely.
They upped their coaching.
Big time.
Yes, they did.
Big time.
They upped their coaching.
Because out in the South Suburbs, it was really just Bloom. I forget what his name is, but the coach from Linkaway East, I mean, he's known as a pretty good coach, but, HF had their issues because they was having... from what I was told when I moved here, first of all, my first experience with HF people, period, was like, I used to coach in the Matson Rec League and the championship all-star game. I had 2 girls on my team, right? And I was adamant. I had a bad team. It was Xavier, and then the 2 girls were like the one girl, her name was Noah. She was the best player other than Xavier. So anyway, during this game, I asked all of the guys going in, like, I want to start Noah, but make sure I get everybody in, right? And the game came down to the wire, and I felt like Noah at the time was the better option for this particular sequence that was going on. All right, we ended up losing the game, but the kids had a good time, and they appreciated it, and they really rallied around this girl player, and I love that. I had this motherfucking old ass dude from HF. He was not damn near. He was on a fucking cane. Like, come out the stands, and like, initially I didn't know he was even talking to me. I'm like celebrating and he was like, "How the fuck you ain't pitted my person?" He from the HF Vikings, and now mind you, this is about 2 or 3 years after I done moved here. So like, I still don't really know I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, now it's a thing,
right?
Them HF people, they're a piece of fucking work. So like, the whatever was that they wasn't allowing what they're allowing now, basically, because the HF people think they have this whole trophy mentality, like everybody should play, and it's like, nah, fuck, your child is anyway. We're gonna keep moving. Because I could, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could go, like, and see, the beauty of me And this is like, I respect the Chicago culture, but I'm not from here. I ain't got. I don't have to answer to nobody. I don't really. I could tell you, and I will tell you to your, like, I don't fuck with you, but I, you know what I'm saying? I respect what you got going on, and it is what it is.
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's fair.
I mean, even if you from here, that's fair.
That's fair.
I respect what you got going on, but I don't have to fuck with you.
I don't have to fuck with you.
That's fair.
And there's no, and that's what I'm teaching my son. We ain't got to come to fisticuffs and fight and shoot. It's like, I don't fuck with you, but I see you though. Yeah. That's what you know what I'm saying? Anyway, because we running out of time. I got a few more questions. Rankings. What's your thoughts on rankings and the whole system when it comes to ranking players? Do you think it's important?
Players?
Yes.
It just depends. Okay. I mean, the kids love it.
Okay, they do.
The kids love it. That's something that the kids love. They into it. They into it. But I don't know if you're around a player enough to rank them.
The people who's ranking them.
Yeah, I don't think you're around them enough.
Right.
You come when they're playing really good teams, and then that's
that's the last time you see them.
Yeah, I don't know if that's fair. Assumption to everybody. And then I don't get out to go see Bonzi Valley versus this person because they don't have a name. It could be somebody who's playing really well, but you don't really know. You got 20 this, you got 18. Then now I'm gonna pop up and go see him one time, and now you only get 6. Oh, he's not who I thought he was. You only saw him one time,
which is another reason why I started the platform.
So you can't. I mean, I don't. But the kids love it.
They do.
I mean, my son he all into it, and my daughter's into it. That's just something they love. But like I tell my son, you're in 5th grade, he's in 6th grade now. Nobody is going to remember what you did in 6th grade. Nobody's going to remember that.
Only you will.
That you was ranked at whatever number they say you are in 6th grade. That's not going to matter. It's some people who've never been ranked that play in the National Basketball Association and get a lot of money. They've never been ranked.
I always ask this question to the players when it comes to, when they're getting recruited, and I'm happy I get a chance to ask this to a coach. When you're coaching these high-level players and these big-time programs are coming to the school to recruit these players, how fun is this for the coach? How fun is that for you, and what's the best part about that?
Well, some people, they love it. Coach Calipari taught me a huge lesson.
Okay.
Early in, and I'm glad it happened early.
Okay.
We in the gym. He's at practice. He's watching practice. We're sitting around talking, and he says, "You know that I'm only here for the kid." I said, "Yeah, I know." He said, "Yeah, I just want you to know that because sometimes people get it like we're here for them too. I'm here to get him to go to college at Memphis." We're not going to be hanging out, having dinners, and that's not what I do. I respect what you're doing here. Everything is fine, but I'm here to get the kid. Every time I see him, we have a great conversation. We talk, we speak, we do everything. But he put me like, you're not here for me.
You're not my peer.
Yeah, you're not here for me. And I can buy my own steak.
Just so we clear.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't get caught up in that with the coaching stuff and, Jabari came and, got Izzo and all these different people. I don't get caught up in that. I'm later in my career, I don't even get involved in the recruiting process as the coach. That's the mother, father, and child situation. If the parent comes in and say, Coach Rob, can you help us with this? Then I
insert yourself.
I get in.
Okay. Other
than that, this is your baby. This is not mine. He has to go to this school. You have to deal with the coach. I don't have to be there at all. If it don't go right, I could just help him with the next move. But if you involved and it don't go right, people pointing, oh, you told me to send him there and it didn't go. No, I didn't, because I won there. This is some decision that y'all made. Right. Now it's not working. Let's find out what the next step going to be. And of course the coaches have to call me, to get input. But I wasn't in the recruiting process after the last. I think Talen, I was in his recruiting process because his mother asked me. But the rest of the guys, I wasn't in the process. I let their parents deal with it.
Okay. All right, so these are the last 3 questions I have for you. First, and this is going to be real interesting. I know for a fact because some of these young guys, name these young players. Name your all-time NBA team. 5 starters and the 6th man.
Whoa. It's funny because Kobe.
Okay, that's one. And they don't have to be in no particular position because we playing positionless basketball today anyway. So Kobe is 1.
Will Chamberlain.
2.
Michael Jordan.
Of course, you got to say Mike. 3.
It's going to be tough. That's 3.
That's 3.
I want to say his name, then I don't want to say his name. So they don't have to be in no position, so we good. We could. Oh, Kareem.
Okay, 4.
LeBron.
5. And who's your 6th man?
Larry Bird.
That's a good one. Mine's is AI, Kobe, Jordan, LeBron, Hakeem, and Jamal Crawford as my 6th man.
JC. Good pickup.
So I don't know if you know or not. Me being Muslim, we believe that our children pick us as parents, right? So in Islam, we believe that the children pick their parent. Hearing that, what does that mean? Knowing that your children picked you to be their father, and talk about what it means knowing that you picked your mother to be your mother.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Well, I'm glad they picked me.
Okay.
And I'm definitely glad I picked my mother.
Okay.
I'm definitely glad I picked my mother.
Okay.
That's my heart. You know, her and my brother. Those 2 people are the 2 most important people in my life. It's my mother and my younger brother.
So you're the oldest?
No, I have an older brother.
Okay.
But those 2 were my younger brother. That's underneath me. We were like best friends.
Okay.
He died some years ago, 2011, of prostate cancer.
Condolences.
And then my mother passed away in 2009. She had a heart attack.
Condolences again.
Yeah. So it was those things are dealing with that. And that's another thing. Like, I did everything with basketball. When my brother first found out he was sick, I was coaching. I never coached AAU, but I had decided to coach AAU with a team, and we were supposed to be going to Milwaukee for NY to LA.
Okay.
My mother was supposed to be going in to have a procedure. My sister's at the hospital. They saying it's going to be 15, 20 minutes for the procedure. She'll be out. So I'm calling my sister like, hey, is it over? No, she haven't came out yet. I'm like, oh, okay, well, nothing going on. I'm driving halfway to Milwaukee. My sister said, you got to turn around. I'm like, what's going on? They's like, they don't know if Mom's going to make it out the surgery. That's why it was taking so long. So I get back, and by the time I get back, she passed. So I'm spending all my time with these other people's kids and families and all that type of stuff, and my family is
dealing with this grief, right.
So that was another part. Like, I didn't want to be doing all that, and my kids just all over the place. So that was another that kind of burned me for a while. Took me a while to get over both of those, but I'm a little bit past it now. Time it hurts because their birthdays are right by each other. Then it's Mother's Day, Father's Day, so it's like right in their birthdays in May.
So that period of May is like real tough.
My mother's birthday May 4th. That next Sunday is always Mother's Day. My brother's birthday May 22nd, and then we go to Father's Day.
And then we go Father's Day.
Yeah, so it's a rough process, but it is what it is, and I'm sure they're proud of what I've been able to accomplish.
Well, I would imagine so.
Yeah,
I'm sure your mom up there having told, that's my baby down there winning them 4 consecutive state championships. You see him.
So yeah, what I did do, and I wanted to make sure I say this on the thing, is what I've started my own basketball academy.
Okay.
So it's a skills academy.
Okay.
Where I deal with 5th through 8th graders.
Okay.
And we're just doing all training.
And how do they become a part of this? Like,
right now they're pretty much handpicked.
Okay.
Just sometimes we have camps for anybody who want to come. We're working on a real big one right now. That's going to be September the 10th, and it's going to be invite only.
Okay. And where's it going to be?
In Southland.
Home Trunk. Okay.
Yeah. So, and we got kids from Gurney, Milwaukee, South Bend.
Okay.
Gary.
Okay.
Chicago, all over the place, and that's part of what I want to try to do with this. Even though my son is planning to help with him, and like I tell people, I don't have to do this because he'll be fine.
Right.
I can take him just to make he'll be fine.
Right.
But I want to make this for the whole state, and that's what I was going back to saying about us being so separated, because when I coach, and I still work camps like at Elite 100 and made hoops and all those different kind of camps. And when you go to camps and, you know, you're from Philly, it's bragging rights. Like, we got the best basketball.
Yeah.
So at times I was able to walk in the gym like, look who here. Look who we got here. Look who we got here. Now I'm walking in the gym like, we ain't got nobody.
We ain't got nobody here.
You know, we had Elite 100. I think we might have had 4 kids from Illinois. That's insane. We talking about top sophomores and juniors, rising sophomores and juniors. Out of this whole state, we can only muster up 4 kids.
Now, are they being invited and not going, or are they not being invited?
They're not being invited.
Why is that?
They're not good enough.
Oh, okay.
That's what they're saying.
I mean, okay, fair.
That's what they're saying, that they're not good enough.
Gotcha.
You know, it's one kid, and I'm not in the AAU world, so I couldn't really say it. And they kind of picked you from that, you know, because it's a Nike event and those kids. But the kid that went young, Munoz, I thought there's no way he don't get invited to this. That's me, because I'm just looking at him as a player.
Right.
But when go talking, it's like, well, he didn't have a good spring. He didn't have this. He was hurt. I'm like, well, I don't know those things. And I call like, wait a minute, man, I'm looking at this list.
Why is he not there?
We got a kid that's not on here who should be here. Like, well, Rob, he didn't have a good spring or summer. And I can't really speak up because I'm not there.
Right.
You know, to say, well, I saw him, you know, I'm not there.
But doesn't that go back to what you were saying about the rankings when someone only seen them that one time?
Right. But they're there at all the sessions.
Okay, got you.
Because they go
evaluating.
So that's how they pick them to even be there.
Got you.
You know, so, I mean, you look at it, too. We do the USA, and we get 2 or 3 kids that got invited just to go to the combine, just to see if you can even make the 16, 17.
Right.
We get 2 or 3 kids. We would get at least 10 just to go. They take 45, 50 kids. We were getting at least 10, 7. I mean, you talking about 2 or 3?
Right. And the odds are stacked against them at that 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that has to change. That has to go back to where it was at.
And so that's the goal of what you're doing.
And teaching them and their parents what this is really about. You know, kind of what we were talking about earlier with the parents, manifesting them too with the kid. If people don't understand, like, I never talk in the car about basketball with my son's team or my daughter's team. Like, if somebody called me, like, how did she play, or I never do that when they're around. Because I could be on the phone like, well, you know, this little boy, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. And now my son hears that, and when he takes that. My daddy don't think he could play anyway, so, you know, this, that, and the other. And my daughter the same way. Or the coach should have did this. Or my daddy said the coach. And they got in their head that they think that ride home from those games, with those practices, they kill teams. And people don't understand that, because you're getting your frustrations out, or how you felt about the coach or the team or the game, and they're there, and they soaking that up, and they take that with them. They come to practice like, oh, my daddy don't really think you could play no way, so I ain't passing you the ball. You know, and it just they do. They hear it.
Yeah, that's the culture. That's the nature.
They hear it. So those things, like teaching them that and letting them understand, like, this is parent part. It's okay to play with other good players. Because when you go to college, it's going to be other good players.
All of them.
So you learn how to compete early with good players. So when you get to college, in high school, I'm leaving because he over here. Jalen Griffith came to Simeon. We had Jalen Drain and Avion Morris, both point guards. No way he's coming, because they're both here. No way this is me. No way he's coming, because they're both here. His dad said, this is the school he wants to come to. This way he going. I go, for real? He like, yeah, this is what he wants to do. So when I sat down, I said, well, you know, he said, I ain't worried about them. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to play. He did what he was supposed to do.
And he played.
But he didn't run away from because they were there.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids and parents do that. They run away from it. You can't run away if you're talking about you want your baby to go to Michigan State, because they're going to get the best.
Every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah, so you got to be prepared for that. Since I've been coaching at Simeon and the kids that went to college, I don't think many of them transferred. If they transferred, the coach left. Or they was a 5th-year senior and they was like, now they're in the portal and all that type of stuff. But they didn't just transfer because He was there because they was used to competing. They knew.
That's a good ass point. Actually,
you can't mess up in school, and you probably can't get hurt on this team because he right there waiting on that.
So you better play hurt.
You need to be doing what you need to, but that's college. That's college. You got to compete. It's somebody waiting to take your spot every day.
So you got that college feel at the school.
Yeah, so you understand that. So when you go, you ready to compete. Guys don't be ready to compete because the coach let you do whatever you want to do because you the man. He's scared you're going to leave. He don't have any other players.
And that's Simeon. That ain't the case. You don't do what you're supposed to do. You can leave. I got somebody.
Yeah. And there's somebody probably waiting on you to leave so they can
hope you keep fucking up.
You transferring? Yeah, I'm going to leave. Okay, thank good. The next thing you know, they in there. But that's the reality of it. So that's what the Skills Academy, because it's called the Robert Smith Skills Academy. That's what that is doing. It's helping the parents and helping the players. So when we train, we're training at a higher level than 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We're teaching them almost mid-high school to college stuff. Because the last 4 years or 5 years at our camps that I work for Nike, our thing is to make you uncomfortable. That way we're going to have your undivided attention because you're uncomfortable. If you're comfortable, I'm just going to go. I'm
just going through the motions.
Yeah, but if you're uncomfortable,
you don't know what's coming next.
You're gonna let me pay attention. I don't want to look bad,
right?
Because I don't know how to do it,
and I don't want to get called out on being looking. Right.
So everything is uncomfortable. We make them uncomfortable, and parents love it because they feel like their kid is being taught.
And for your academy, you said it's going to be at Ho-Chunk, and it's going to be a 1-day camp.
So this one here is free.
Okay.
The other ones that I charge a little $50, $60, $70, not even what these other people charge, and we go for about 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
The guys I got who train, and they some of the best in the world, but they are high school trainers who are really, really good with kids, and they're really good guys. I love the people that I have around these kids. But this one is what I thought about was like, how do I get all these kids in there who really good at one time in one space at this age? Free.
Everybody likes free.
And invite.
That's what our events be.
So the guys I got, they know all the kids because they're in the sector.
And in that realm, right.
So they like, oh, we need this kid, we need this kid, we need this kid. So we sent out invites last week.
Okay.
To all the kids. So we have 100 kids now, and we got like 10 or 15 on the waiting list because some kids play football. They don't have their football schedule yet, so they don't know if they're going to be available that day.
Gotcha.
So we had to have a waiting list. But this one here, I think, should be really, really good because it's invite only, and these are most of the time we get basketball players. I don't want to take nobody's money because there's not a lot of money, but I'm gonna drop them off and I'm gonna go shopping.
Right. And more importantly, the kid he don't want to be there. He'd rather be playing the game, and he don't even play basketball.
Right. I don't want it. That's why I don't really. People are like, why you don't publicize it when you have it? Because that's not what I'm looking for.
You're looking for a certain clientele.
Yeah, I'm trying to build a brand.
Right. You're more than welcome anytime you want to come on the show, and we definitely will get with you behind the scenes. So if you got some literature or something that you want us to post on the platform, or you got maybe a commercial or something at some point, like we'll be more than happy to support everything that you got going on.
I appreciate you guys having me. This is part of what I want to do now is just try to help out as much as possible. I'm a different person. I stay by myself. I move by myself. I definitely was expecting the entourage. I got 40 friends that I grew up with. It's 40 of us. We've been friends since we were little bitty kids.
Okay.
I don't need no new friends.
None. I ain't gonna front. I definitely thought you was gonna come with a little entourage. I did. I was expecting it.
I'm solo.
I like it though.
Yeah,
you definitely roll solo.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm by myself. I dropped one of the parents picked my son up took him to practice. I'm going to meet her back on 159th.
Pick him back up and head on home.
And we're going to the crib.
Okay. Here's my last thing I'd like you to do. We do this with all the kids. We ask them to send themselves a future message, and I'd like you to speak in third person. So I don't know if you call yourself Coach Rob or whatever you want to call yourself, but just kind of give yourself a future message to yourself, whatever you want that message to be.
Coach Rob, I want you to continue to build this academy and continue to help the youth throughout the state of Illinois.
Okay. Solid. Short, sweet, to the point.
Yeah, that's where I'm at now. Mm-hmm. I'm at the point of more helping. When you coaching, you get stuck in the climate because you got to help this climate. It's hard to. I still help people even when I was outside of that, but this way I can seem like I can help the whole.
Okay.
And not because some of these kids are going to be going to HF, some are going to be going to Thornwood, some are going to be going, and I'm going to still, because one of the parents like, well, when this is over with, are you going to still follow? Yeah, I'm going to still follow them around as much as I can. You got to realize my son is going to be playing too, but any help you need from me, if you in this academy, I have no problem with helping you. Because you're going to be still part of me. When I'm saying, hey, this kid is in my academy. He's taking what he learned from your academy. So they're going to be like, would you learn? Yeah. Right. Yeah, so that's what that is. So I'm going to still be around the kids and try my best to help them as much as possible. Who on the Simeon team this year should the state be on notice about? This year? Coming up. When the new season roll around. R.J. McKinney. I swear to God on my father's grave, I was hoping you would say that. I'm mad that you don't get a chance to coach him. No, because I think Tim are going to do a great job with him, and not that I can't coach him. I'm just mad because I don't think he is getting the recognition that he deserves with all of the hard work that I see. Like, people don't probably see that, but I see it, and it's showing. He's putting in the work. Night in and night out, it's showing. Like, it's bothering me that nobody from this state has offered him a scholarship. That's bothering me. Now, and I'm not saying U of I, is he that level? Probably not. But Northern and you, somebody should be. He should have an offer. Y'all, something wrong with y'all. What is wrong? He won our MVP at the Chi-Town Showcase, our first one. He is. I'm shocked. I'm mad. I'm not even shocked. And I'm kind of out, so I don't want to call people like, man, but I'm going to do it in a second. Like, you need to take this kid. Right. Academically, 4.0 student. Comes from a great family. Yeah. Has everything he needs, the makeup that you're looking for. And family blood lineage is ballers. Yeah. Yeah. But what you say you're looking for, you get right in him. Student athlete. He ain't gonna do nothing he was supposed to do. He's a great kid. Not gonna embarrass the program. Yeah. This is what y'all saying y'all want. Oh, we don't want kids from Chicago because of this, and now you got one who could help you, and you not even offering. You going to Colorado to get a kid to come to Chicago. That don't make sense to me. Shout out to RJ, and shout out to his father Rashad and his entire family. They are definitely friends of the program, so shout out to them. On that note, I know we went a little bit over, but I do want to shout out Bo Harris and my producer over there. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate your help with everything. Shout out to Numerex and of course Derrick Ellison and Chi-Town Showcase. We appreciate you guys being on. Yeah, that's my man. Yeah, he's that's my guy right there. We want to thank you, Coach Rob, for being on the show. We really appreciate it. I'm to get an opportunity to sit down and talk with a legend of your stature. I know you may not see yourself that way. Maybe you do. I don't know. But from somebody on the outside to be able to kind of sit down with a high school basketball coach with your accolades and with the type of players that you have coached, whether they become famous or not, like that, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for allowing me to be in your space. Oh, no problem. I appreciate you guys having me. I mean, we could chop it up again. Yeah, definitely. We love that. We'd love that for sure. All right, y'all, we're going to go. We'll see y'all on the next episode. Y'all have a good night.